Welcome to our channel, where we simplify neuroscience for you in just a few minutes. How do we move, plan our actions, or learn new ones? Let's find out. Basal ganglia is a group of nuclei or clusters of neurons in our brain and are located deep beneath the cerebral cortex or the brain's outer layer. The word basal refers to the fact that they're located at the bottom or base of the brain. These clusters specialize primarily in controlling our motor functions, among others. So, the basal ganglia process information on movement and fine-tune the activity of brain circuits to determine the best possible response in a given situation. Anatomically, the basal ganglia consist of parallel complementary pathways that process sensory, motor, limbic, and associative information. The ones of the motor circuit include the caudate nucleus and putamen, which are collectively called the dorsal striatum, globus pallidus, subthalamic nucleus, and Substantia Nigra. The major input nucleus of basal ganglia is the corpus striatum, which collectively includes the dorsal and ventral divisions. It receives information from almost all areas of the cortex. The dorsal striatum receives the information from areas below the cortex, like the midbrain via the thalamus. The subthalamic nucleus serves as an input nucleus for the motor circuit and processes information received from the striatum. It therefore influences the conventional route of basal ganglia outflow from the striatum to the output nuclei, the globus pallidus and Substantia Nigra. From here, information goes to the thalamus and finally to the appropriate part of the cortex that results in movement. What's important to note is that the activity in the basal ganglia doesn't directly cause movement, but influences areas in other areas of the brain like the motor cortex to affect movement. So the next time you run when you see a tiger or catch a ball, you know which part of your brain is responsible. The way they work is quite complex and not completely understood to date. One hypothesis is that the basal ganglia have different circuits or loops that either promote or inhibit movement. According to this concept, the main output of the basal ganglia is inhibitory, implying that the neurons in globus pallidus inhibit the thalamus to prevent unwanted movements. Similarly, when a signal to initiate movement is sent from the cortex to the basal ganglia, it follows a circuit called the direct pathway and silences the inhibitory neurons in the globus pallidus, resulting in movement. If information flows through the indirect pathway, which involves the subthalamic nucleus, it leads to increased suppression of movement. It's believed that this balance of activity allows for smooth movement. A dysfunction in the basal ganglia can therefore lead to movement disorders or behavioral changes. These include Parkinson's and Huntington's disease, which are associated with abnormally decreased or increased movements, respectively. If you enjoyed, drop a like, click on subscribe, and hit the notification bell to catch our next episode.